Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Guy Dawson Show at the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM.com. And my name is Guy Dawson, and I am the managing member of Classic Communications, a full-service media and marketing company. And if you would like to bring greater recognition to your business, your organization, or yourself personally, please get in contact with us at 702-845-6129 or visit our website, classiccommunications.net. We are broadcasting to you live from the Gene Woods Racing Experience in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, just a stone throw. Woo! From the Las Vegas Strip, and I sometimes you have a lot of enthusiasm with that. Woo! And some days like today, you are less than enthusiastic. The queen of all media, Corintha Turboline, is back.
Yes.
Low level of enthusiasm today?
Yeah, it's just been a rough day, but you know what? As they say, I don't know if this is a saying in television, but it should be, you fake it till you make it.
Oh, absolutely. The show must go on.
Yes. And I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here to represent you and Classic Communications and all the good work that we do, and excited to be on the show today.
Corintha has been working with me for, well, I guess about three or 4 months now.
Yes.
Really is between doing the show and also working on projects for Classic Communications. Corintha aspires to be a journalist, and she's learning some things within my company about journalism and public relations. However, she had a career prior to her career in PR, and we are going to take a segment today to talk about that career because we live in a town that has a real affinity and a knowledge about her industry that a lot of cities don't have. And she was a cocktail waitress with MGM Resorts.
That's absolutely right. Yes, I actually used to work on the Strip at the weirdest hours you could imagine. Work graveyard full time. And can I talk about where I got, kind of how I got started in that direction?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so first off, one of these days I'm going to write a book about this. So I'm thinking about calling it Memoirs of a Cocktail Server, If the Tray Could Talk, but that's just a working title.
That's a great title.
Thank you. Really?
Yeah.
And he does books, so he knows. So that's a working title right now. I actually have stories already written down. And I'm thinking of doing it in a format of like a Chelsea Handler book or a Tina Fey book, where they're very it's basically like short stories written down. Whoopi Goldberg has done one too. They're comedy books, basically. They're books of comedy. But you have to watch where you read these books, because I've been in the airport by myself and just slammed through a Chelsea Handler book, but I was laughing hysterically and everyone was staring at me. So
she's funny though.
She's hysterical.
She is funny.
If I could fashion it in that kind of way, I think it'd be a huge success. But I definitely want to, also take the time to kind of teach tourists about, hey, listen, this is what we think of you when you come to our city,
Are you saying it's not always a pretty picture, Corintha?
Oh my gosh, no. I plan to maybe the first scene of that you're imagining that the cocktail server is coming out onto the floor, and she's coming out on the floor at 2:00 in the morning. And a lot of folks think, oh, that's a great time to make money. Everybody's already partying, all of that stuff. Not necessarily, because people who are really, really drunk, you're taking a gamble with them, because they're either going to tip you really well or not at all. They'll forget to tip because they're so wasted they don't even know. And then they're harder to deal with because they're so intoxicated. And a lot of times you can't even serve them, because we have rules and TAM cards that say, hey, if you want to keep legally serving alcohol to people, you can't intoxicate people to the point where they're literally crawling out of the door.
How do you measure? How do you measure that? Because your job is to get people intoxicated, basically, when you're, right? Because that's all a part of the marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. How do you measure when a person, do they have to, face first? They're sitting at the blackjack table, and then they just...
Oh, I've seen it. I have seen it. I have seen people passed out, blacked out, drunk at the table with their money and their chips in front of them. Just, hot mess. People are a hot mess when they come to Vegas. I think that it really comes from that whole idea of, how people look at the movies and the advertising and the television shows about Vegas and they think I can just act however I want with no consequences. There's no law there. And then they don't realize.
People do think that, don't they?
Yes, they do. They have this myth of Las Vegas, like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna, completely. No, that's not how it works here.
Yeah, I remember before I lived here, and I would come and I would be on the Strip, and you kind of feel like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, this is all for you. There's every vice imaginable, and this is meant for you. You're an adult, and we pretty much will let you do whatever you want. And that is not the truth.
It is not true. Please do not try to grab your cocktail servers. We are not strippers. Even strippers don't like to be grabbed, so don't grab them either, because the security guard will come and get you immediately. Okay, what's the other thing? Yeah, so no trying to grab the cocktail waitress in any way that's appropriate. Please make sure that you're nice to us, because now it depends. Sometimes you get cocktail servers who have been in this business for way too long. And if you feel like you have to have a moment with your cocktail server, like a come to Jesus moment, because of the way she's acting, okay, that's on her. I get it. But if you have someone like me, who in general was pretty nice and pleasant to deal with, thinking about the fact that I'd maybe got a few hours of sleep, if that, and then came to work to come see you at 2 o'clock in the morning, have a little patience with us. You could be a little nicer to us, but the problem is that you're in the business, of course, of where people are already drunk. Some people are very mean drunks. Some people are, they're not thinking with clear heads when you get to them anyway. So, it's a tough business. I remember, this is how I think I definitely want to put something about this in the book. It's where you walk out on the floor and you literally feel like it's like a zombie apocalypse sometimes, like especially on the holidays when everybody's drunk and they're with their families and their friends, and literally I would eventually like to turn that book into a movie, and if I did that, I would want to see where the customers, like the cocktail waitress comes out into the floor with her tray, and then all of a sudden it looks like zombies are running around all over the casino. Because in your mind, that's how you feel. Like, oh God, I gotta, you have to dodge people. You have to duck. Like, people are just, they don't care. They bump into you all the time with a heavy tray. I could have a tray full of drinks. I couldn't count how many times somebody bumped into me or didn't realize, and I had to go back and get more drinks, but that's costing me money because now people are angry. They had to wait. It's a whole thing, this business. So just, in general, the really good rule of thumb is to just never touch your cocktail waitress, ever. Don't touch her tray. It's an extension of her body. We really do. There's an etiquette that goes with that. That's like tray etiquette. We get really angry if someone touches our tray. Like,
really?
Super angry. I remember one guy, I had my tray out like this, and I'm talking to a customer, and he's really nice to me, and he's tipping me well and whatever, it's very slow, so I'm just kind of chatting with him. And then I have this other guy come in, and he wanted to get my attention, but he's not gambling in my station. So that's the other thing. Don't just sit down at a slot machine and think that you're going to get served drinks, because it's not how it works. You have to be gambling. Anyway.
I know. A lot of people.
They think
when
they
you
can
live
just
in
sit
Vegas,
down.
you see all kinds of things like
yes,
that.
you do.
Yeah, you see people will come and they
No.
they think they can just drink all night, right?
Yes.
Just, as long as they're sitting
for free. No. You have to have money in the machine. You have to be actively gambling. I don't know how many people I had to tell that to. And they would get angry if I ignored them. Like, why didn't you talk to me? Because you weren't gambling. Gamble.
And that leads into my next question, and we're going to be going to a break, so you may not be able to complete this, but how does the casino support you? They're basically putting you out there,
right?
Because
feeding us to the walls.
You are dressed in a way that is designed to entice men to spend money with you, and then there's liquor involved, and you're in a casino, you're in Vegas.
Right.
Quite a combination.
It really is. I would say that the hotels, they have it so that it's designed for you to be the customer's fantasy, really. And so, do we have support from our managers? Yes, absolutely. If we have, issues with customers on the floor, we can certainly call our managers in and they will help us. But at the same time, they're, like you said, they are kind of throwing us to the wolves with barely any clothes on. It's like, well, what do you expect? The kind of behavior that we get from our customers sometimes, you know.
Yeah, it's a
But-
part of the marketing strategy. We're going to take a short commercial break. I have more questions to ask Corintha about her career as a cocktail waitress, and she's told me some stories, and she'll share some of them with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's great being on the internet, huh? Because we can
Yes.
we can talk about what we want. We'll be back in a few minutes with more of The Guy Dawson Show.